And so, folks, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. This is Vision on TV coming to you live from the EJS Ministerial Complex here in CONGO Town, where today the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning official launch of Mfdp'S 5-year strategic plan 2026-2030. So we are here bringing you up to speed as somebody happening here in our country. This morning we are live here at the EJS Ministerial Complex here in CONGO Town, where the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning launch, official launch of Mfdp'S 5-year strategic plan 2026 and 2030. The program is about the beginning. The program is about the beginning. I see the presence of the finance minister, Augustine, who just arrived here
with your kind
ministerial complex here.
Proceed with the official program.
Government officials here.
Honored members of the executive branch of the government of Liberia, distinguished members of the Honorable Liberian Senate, distinguished members of the Honorable House of Representatives, members of the judiciary, excellencies and representatives of the development partner institutions, doyen and members of the diplomatic corps, heads and representatives of ministries, and leaders and representatives of faith institutions, representatives of civil society organizations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are particularly honored by the presence of the Honorable Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Augustine Pei-Kafwana, and his senior management, whose leadership continues to guide the ministry's efforts in strengthening fiscal governance and advancing Liberia's development priorities. On behalf of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, it is a privilege to welcome you to the official launch of the Ministry 5-year strategic plan from the period of 2026 to 2030 under the theme Transforming Priorities into Strategies, the Pathway to Efficient Service Delivery. The Ministry of Finance and Development occupies a central role in Liberia's economic governance architecture, providing leadership in sound fiscal stewardship, strategic development planning, and the effective coordination of national development priorities. As Liberia continues its pursuit of boosted growth and sustainable development, the importance of a strong institutions, clear strategic direction, and efficient public service delivery cannot be overstated. Today, therefore, marks a significant institution milestone for the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, as it formally unveils its 5-year strategic plan for the period of 2026 to 2030, a strategic framework designed to strengthen institutional performance, enhance nation across government, and translate national priorities into measurable development outcomes for the Liberian people. Your presence today reflects the strong spirit of partnership, collaboration, and shared commitment that continues to support Liberia's development journey. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome. To formally commence to this program, it is my honor to invite Honorable Paul T. LeMay, Assistant again welcome Ross. Can we please give a round of applause?
We started the design of this strategic plan sometime late 2024. And throughout last year, we received numerous invitations from MINISTERIals to either join in for the strategic plan launch or for stakeholder engagement. And every time an invitation comes, the Honorable Minister Gafwan will call the DMA or myself and say, you guys are now the strategic plan experts. So you are someone to go and represent the Ministry of Finance at this occasion. So with this at the back of my mind, it is a distinct honor here to do the welcome remarks. The Honorable Mfdp'S, Chair, House Representative Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, and Joint Chair of the Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, the Honorable Senator Prince Kemomoy, Chair, Senate Committee on Ways, Means and Finance, Ms. Christine N. Umotuni, Resident Coordinator of United Nations, and our key launcher for today's program, the Honorable Augustine Kwei Gafwan, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, the Honorable Dawajala, Comptroller General of Global Liberia. I always mess up. Honorable Dawajala, LRA, other distinct Auditor General, CFP, Honorable Jackson, heads of ministries and agencies present, distinguished members of the cabinet, our valued developmental partners, and members of the diplomatic corps, directors, staff of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, fellows, public servants, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. It is a profound honor to welcome you all to this ballroom of the EGS Ministerial Complex for this landmark occasion. Today is more than just a formal gathering. It is the culmination of months of rigorous introspection, consultation, and collaborative dreaming. We're here to unveil a roadmap that will not only guide the operations of the ministry for the next 5 years, but will serve as the engine room for our national transformation. As the stewards of our nation's economy, the MFDP stands at a critical juncture. Our new strategic plan, 2026-2030, is designed to be the compass that navigates us through the complexities of modern fiscal management. This plan is intentionally aligned with the REST agenda for inclusive development, AID. It addresses the core pillars of our national survivors as we move away from traditional business as usual to the framework defined by fiscal discipline, where we ensure every cent of public money works for the Liberian people. Digital transformation, we modernize our system to eliminate waste and enhance transparency. Human capital, where we strengthen the capacity of our workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The plan, no matter how beautifully written, is only as good as its implementation. So our staff, you are the architect of this change. So our partners, your collaboration is the fuel that will drive this vehicle forward. We are not just launching a document today, we are launching a promise of a more resilient, accountable, and prosperous Liberia. On behalf of the senior management team, the Ministry of Finance and Government Planning. I want to thank members of the core team, our consultants, every staff member who shared a vision in this framework. It is now my singular honor to welcome you all. Let us work together to ensure that by 2030, we look back at this day as the moment we solidify the foundation for Liberia's inclusive growth. Welcome, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Assistant Minister Lamin, for welcoming us to this very important program. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a strategic plan serves as a guiding framework that aligns institutional vision with operational priorities and measurable outcomes. To provide us with an overview of the vision, priorities, and strategic directives contained in the MFDP strategic plan for the period of 2026-2030, it is my honor to invite Honorable Bill McGill-John, Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Shall we please take a round of applause?
Thank you. Before I begin, I would like to begin with my own ministry. To say a profound thank you to the minister and the senior management team. It has been a long journey. When we started this process in 2024, there was a transition from Minister Kamara to Minister Myers in the IT role, and then to Minister Gafwan. All of those processes provided a unique opportunity to reflect and see what type of ministry we wanted for the next 5 years. Today, before we run into providing a summary overview of what we call our strategic plan, I would like to run all of us into a little bit of reflection, starting with our development partners, who immense contribution. When I sat back during the development process and look at some of the feedbacks we got from the partners, from the ministers, and the ministries, and the civil society organization, I knew we were on a path of moving forward. But what made us most powerful was that when we started this process in 2024, it was a point of reflection, looking back at a decade. 2 separate strategic plans that have been implemented, looking at it in a way that we wanted to do a complete SWOT analysis to identify what was good, what was bad, what were some of the opportunities we missed out, and what were some of the threats that continue to hold us back as a ministry. That DEX review process took a lot of time, reviewing to authenticate what was available that we could use as a baseline to move forward. Further, I'd like to stand here today to say thank you to the minister and the team, the legislature. This might be my last time standing here as the Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Finance, because on Sunday, the President had called me to move on to the presidency, a similar role but a little elevated, to serve as his Deputy for Administration and by extension the Deputy Chief of Staff in his office. So I'd like to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart who supported us, who worked with us to ensuring that we achieve these results. I want to thank you. When we did a reflection of the last two plans, we identified a lot of different challenges, we identified a lot of successes, we identified a lot of opportunities and threats. But what stood up as part of the engagement was to ensuring that we want to see a pathway that drives the government, Ministry of Finance and Development Planning into an institution that will be bold, that will focus on digital processes, that will reduce processing time, and that will draw services closer to our commission agencies and our development partners. Few things came up: strong fiscal discipline, modernized fiscal financial management system, improved service delivery, enhanced transparency and accountability, and institutional excellence within the Ministry of Finance. As we went through the process, we said to ourselves, for us to respond in a way that we will get a plan that is inclusive, participatory, we must have a plan that brings all views and aspirations together. And so today, this strategic plan is a response to all of the key processes you see out there, from fiscal discipline to institutional excellence. What is our intent? We want to elevate the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. And to do so, we need to focus on key areas in repositioning the ministry. One is to lead the macroeconomic stability. And by doing so, we need to look at the different numbers, the different processes that bring businesses closer to the Liberian people, that provide them the space to work, and ensuring that they are not just participants, but they are the owners of the Liberian economy. Second, the fiscal governance. There are a lot of different systems we're working on. Recently, you saw the local government act passed. The Ministry of Local Government is now in process. It's in full swing. The President made a lot of appointments there. And to do so, we have to focus on the county treasuries, ensuring that we can ensure that processes are done around the county so that we're taking Liberia out of Monrovia. It's also focused in that area. We also want to deliver on measurable institutional reforms. The Ministry of Finance, since 2013, concluded the merger, has gone through different reforms. And so today, as part of this process, there's going to be a lot of institutional process that we want to review to ensuring that those reforms meet current day reality. What are some of the challenges we met when we did the debt review? Fiscal pressure, institutional gap, economic vulnerability, and you can name a lot. But these are the major ones. When you look at the Liberian economy, from the Ministry of Finance length, both the private and public, these are key things we're working to address. Our overarching goal as an institution, we've pulled together to say, what do we want to do? Based on the challenges that we've had, we want to complete institutional transformation process that will see us review our amended the function as a ministry and see whether the Ministry of Finance then is the current Ministry of Finance now that is prepared to responding to all of the different challenges we have as a country. Two, we want to deliver on the AIE. As an institution coordinating the AIE, we have to be positioned in a way that we can respond to each of the pillars through different pillar technical meetings, through different sector working groups, and ensuring that the AIE deliver are aligned and cut across all of our development partners, country program frameworks, so that when we don't duplicate activities. Three, we want to promote macroeconomic stability and the private sector investment. It's no secret. The engine of every country is the private sector. And to do so, we have to make huge investment in those areas by ensuring that they have the capability, they have the tools to the need to work as an institution in the whole sector. Four, prioritize the poor and the vulnerable. faces of our people, the Ministry of Finance is reprioritizing and positioning itself under the leadership of the Honorable Augustine Kwehe, who continue to champion the reform from fiscal side to institutional to systems, and we're working. All of these efforts are geared towards providing opportunities that will lift people out of poverty. And lastly, the fiscal discipline and transparency. It's no secret. As you go across, I see the Auditor General is there. On a regular basis, he carries out his audits, complying with system audits, is to ensure whether we are in compliance. And to ensure that compliance is continually moving forward, we have to tighten systems. We have to ensure that we can tackle different bottlenecks that are available within our system to ensure that we can move to what we call a qualified opinion. I mean, from a qualified opinion to a qualified path that we want to move to. That's something that has not happened for a very long time. And as a team, as the Ministry of Finance, under the leadership of Mr. Kafon, we want to lead from one point to another. And that's how ambitious we are. After all of this engagement, the Ministry of Finance was able to set our strategic objective as an institution. What I do focus area we want to work on within 2026 to 2030. Here is a reform agenda. One, to enhance the modernization of financial management systems and infrastructure. This will help us to deploy the integrated financial management system of all of the ministerial agencies across Nigeria, so that we can have a single process of managing government funds. Two, it will help us to improve fiscal transparency and also improve data sharing across government. Three, this process will position the Ministry of Finance also to set up what we call a state-of-the-art Ministry of Finance, where we can work with the President, our partners, all the other government institutions, to construct an edifice that represents the government fiscal house. Two, we want to improve public financial management capacity building and the professionalizations. By this, we want to address the human part. In all we do, the implementation of this plan relies on the human capability. If we do not have a strong capacity building process for our people to transition from one stage to another, we will develop all of the fund plans that will remain on the shelf because we don't have the capacity to do it. So the Ministry of Finance repositioned itself to get this done. Three, we want to strengthen the fiscal reporting and accounting status. And I must commend the Controller of the County General, my colleague, the Honorable L.T. Nettie, because when we walked in the Ministry of Finance on the 7th of February 2024, reporting was below the line 30. The overall percentage of reporting across government was around 30%. The last time I talked to him, we were around 92, 93, 94%. And that's something he's done. Our peers did. Do we want to stay at 92, 93? No. We want to be at 100. Because 92, 93, even though it's in the A grade, we want to have the A plus. So the Controller General has been taking some measures where you saw controllers of different institutions who failed to report on their execution of budget, their salary has been withheld. And one of the next steps that will happen, because the controllers are not yet responsible for the report, the heads of entities who are the accounting officer will have to sign onto it, and we cannot get a report as part of the process. There is a conversation to also withhold not just the controller, but the head of entity also, so we can reach 100% back. So this is something we want to commend the Controller General about, but we need more work to be done in this area as we move forward. Another strategic area we want to work on is the debt management part, the debt sustainability. Nigeria's high rates of debt remain something that is an open secret, but in order for us to do it, we need to work as a team, looking at the debt sustainability plan looking at the different processes and procedures. Recently, I was in Buchanan, working along with the debt management unit to develop what are the guidelines and procedures that will guide public debt within the country. And we want to take the Auditor General. That was part of the audit recommendation process. And his team joined us in Buchanan to address a problem that we all found within our system, and collectively we're coming up to that point. 5, digitalization is no secret. One of those challenges that I have had since I entered the Ministry of Finance is regular complaining about processing time. And sometimes it's system, and sometimes it's human. So to address this, I will give a famous quote for the minister said at his confirmation. He said, we are going to ensure that document will be moving through the system and not people moving the document. And to do so, we've put together an ambitious plan that will address that. On this part, we anticipated that all of our different systems that are obsolete will be looked at. We'll work with our partners, we'll work with ourselves, to ensuring that we can take care of this process and reduce processing time and enhance efficiency in service delivery. The second to the last is achieving excellence in service delivery. The shift of the ministry culture towards the client orientation process or client-oriented ministry is very much encouraging. Why is it encouraging? Everything we do at the ministry is about service to country. And the ministry being the central operating engine of the government, service delivery should be the number one key mantra that we can put forth on a daily basis. Because each institution from everywhere in the country work through the ministry. And I will also borrow this from the minister when he says the Ministry of Finance is like the heart within the body. If it doesn't pump blood so it goes back to the other parts of the body, you know there's going to be a problem. So as the ministry moves forward, in order to ensure that the blood move, or blood are flowing through the body, it comes with services that we provide to everyone on a day-to-day basis. And we want to do this in real time to deliver it. So this strategic plan is repositioning the ministry. And as part of the deliverable under the strategic plan, we've also revisited our internal processes around service delivery so that we streamline some of these processes we thought were there were a lot of bureaucracy around so that we can reduce it to look at it. Also, we also look at the issue of the ministry that I mentioned about being more than 10 years. There's been a lot of reform within. We've also looked at the act creating the Ministry of Finance to look at some structural issues. The minister in his wisdom will look at that process, and he will be working with our colleagues from the Governance Commission and the Law Reform Commission and Office of the President to ensure that we can revisit the current structure of the Ministry of Finance so that we position it to respond to our responsibility. The technology processing part is very important, and we want to thank the controller of the County General Department with the different ideas. When we took over, we had to launch what we call the electronic fund transfer. That will reduce a lot of paper-based work. So a lot of the payments now going through the CAG office is going to businesses that they're done for government. A lot of their payment goes through direct bank transfer using a platform called electronic fund transfer. And all of these issues are being responded to based on comments, concerns that are coming out of our public, the people we work with, to ensuring that we deliver on the timeliness of value for the people of Nigeria. What are some of the key targets we intend to achieve? By 2030, we intend to increase the revenue to GDP at 35%. We also want to reduce the debt to GDP below 45%. We want to achieve a clean audit opinion. We want to make sure that 100% of the MF's coverage is across the ministry and agency so that all of our institutions will work through the system so that reporting and accountability will be easy. We want to also be sure that process of 95% of payment of our system of within the Ministry of Finance will be electronic, in taking away the human action and making sure that system work for the people. We also want to achieve an 80% client LO satisfaction rate. And because of that, we've also developed a proposal as part of this process to establish a customer service unit that will work on a day-by-day basis with hotlines where you can make a call anywhere around the country to give your concerns if you have some problem with the ministry. We want to reduce the processing time at 50% to ensuring that people get their voucher processed in real time and the payment rolls out to the economy. The more money we put into the economy, the more taxes are paid, and the cycle flow continues to move from one point to another. I know that the revenue authority boss is looking because he has a tax to raise 1.1 billion. So that's something he wants. But the more money we put in the economy, he's getting more back through taxes to ensuring that we can meet our target as an institution. The IFME deployment is very important for us. The migration of the roadmap to the accurate MFdp'S. We also want the national accounting manual finalized. That's something we're also working with the controller of the Accounting General to make sure that we have a standard accounting product book, our manual for all of the institutions that are across the country, so that when the Auditor General comes to audit us, he has one level of procedure outlined, and that will be the standard of operation. We also want to ensure that our annual debt analysis is institutionalized. This is where some of the problems are. We want to work around it. The FORCET will be fully implemented, and we want to make sure that the Ministry of Finance modeling complex is started and completed by the grace of God before 2020. This is the governance and oversight board. From the senior management receiving a quarterly process of review of the strategic plan to annual reporting to the cabinet. We also want to ensure that our internal policy coordination unit is tracking each of our plans from units to department, from departments to the ministry. We want to ensure that there's an executive management process where a team will have weekly briefing with their team. And by the way, I've said to my colleagues that this year budget that we already need to pass for the line to the strategic plan. So up to now, we're still making sure that our quarterly allotments, our activities are aligned to what we spoke about with the plan. And I want to commend all of my colleagues because we've been for a year for that. All of the requests I received for key priorities are aligned to our strategic plan. And this is the costing part. It's in a three-pronged approach. The government of Liberia will take ownership that we've done. But we're also looking at our strategic bilateral and multilateral partners to support it. And that's why I said in the opening comment, we really acknowledge their participation from one point to another, from the processes that led us to where we are, from the consultation and to the external, both internal and external consultation, is beyond my imagination. Their inputs, their insight is very strong. And what do we want to gain at the end of the process is the efficiency of these reforms. Here is a call to action. This plan does not represent me. It does not represent my boss, like he was saying in the phone. It represents the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is committed. They will require that commitment to institutional renewal, fiscal responsibility, service delivery transformation, and a renewed credibility with citizens and partners. We thus call on all partners to rally behind us as we pursue transforming priorities into strategies and pathways that will sustain our processes. With this, I'd like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister for Administration, Honorable Jones. is strengthened by the continued collaboration of government institutions, development partners, and national stakeholders. We will now proceed with special remarks from selected partners and institutions. Each speaker will kindly be allotted 3 minutes, and we respectfully encourage our speakers to observe the time so that we maintain the smooth flow of the meeting. We will begin with remarks from our valued development partners. So we will start with World Bank Representative Binta Masakuri. Please, if my pronunciation is not so well, please, I apologize.
Honorable Minister Gafwan and the MFDP team, Honorable Senator Prince Moyi, honorable officials of the government of Liberia, development partners, private sector representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the World Bank Country Manager, Ms. Georgia Wallen, and the entire World Bank team, I extend our sincere congratulations to MFDP on the launch of the 2026 to 2030 strategic plan. This milestone signals a clear commitment to strengthening public institutions and advancing reform. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to participate in the Aid Coordination Conference, where we reaffirmed the importance of harmonization and result-oriented development corporations under the AID framework. The discussions reinforced that strong coordination, strong coordination and mutual accountability will be essential to delivering Liberia's development priorities. This strategic plan provides an important framework to advance that shared commitment. Under the theme, transforming priorities into strategies, the pathway to efficient service delivery, the plan presents a clear vision for strengthening public institutions, enhancing transparency and accountability, and improving service delivery to citizens. We were also very pleased to participate in the validation process in December 2025 alongside other partners and to provide feedback. We commend the ministry for the inclusive consultative approach taken in developing this strategy. At the World Bank, our overarching focus under the new country partnership framework is on building the foundations for more grants. Strong physical financial management, accountable institutions, and efficient service delivery are essential building blocks for private sector growth, investment, and efficient and job creation. We see strong alignment between these objectives and the reform trajectory being advanced by the MFDP. As implementation moves forward, success will depend on clear prioritization, disciplined sequencing of reforms, strengthened institutional capacity, and consistent monitoring of results. Translating this strategy into measurable outcomes will require sustained coordination across government and continued partnership, as mentioned. The World Bank stands ready to continue supporting the government of Liberia in advancing its reform agenda through financing, technical assistance, and policy dialogue. Let me close by reaffirming our strong partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the government of Liberia. We commend your leadership, Honorable Minister Gafwan and team, and your commitment to reform. We look forward to working together to to translate this strategy into tangible improvements in governance, service delivery, and economic opportunities for all Liberians. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Masakuri, for reaffirming your partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Next, we have remarks from EU, European Union, and that will be done by Madam Anna Caruso. Sorry for the pronunciation.
Good morning to everyone. Please kindly allow me to respect on the existing protocols to use my 3 minutes to speak about the topic of today's meeting. I'm replacing Ambassador who is abroad. She is at the annual meeting of ambassadors in Brussels. Myself, I'm a lead for governance in European Union, and within governance team we work very closely with the ministry. We work on budget support, as well on private sector development, PFM, so all the elements that were mentioned today. But of course our portfolio is much, much broader, including as well trainings and educational investment, because of course if we work on on private sector development, we need as well to have rightly educated young people who would be able then to find jobs. I wanted to, like my colleague from World Bank, start from thanking you for this process of developing the strategy, which was very inclusive, and you based your strategy on very robust evidence. Not only that, but as well you organized a number of consultations, and like World Bank, we participated, we were able to express our views. So we see this process as very inclusive, and really that you were and are trying to do your best to bring best services to Liberian citizens. I would like maybe say something as well, referring to the presentation of Deputy McGill-Jones, based on my own personal experience here. I came here 2.5 years ago, and what the Deputy Minister described in his presentation, I could live it through my personal experience, because when I came here, first thing we heard going to different institutions that, for example, financial reporting, which was at 40%, is something that cannot be dealt with. Like that was like really shared opinion that it's such a barrier, it cannot be really overcome. And yet, very quickly, because of the decisive approach by this government, we have very good reporting at 94%, as it was mentioned. That is just one example, because I saw the same concerning payroll reform as well. Initial opinions that things cannot be done, and then there was another reform which was quite successful from my point of view, from my the point from where I observe how the situation is developing. Maybe I will not be repeating all the important achievements, because I actually wanted to speak of achievements of what I noticed already is included into strategy, but then those elements were as well summarized in the presentation by the Deputy Minister. But I wanted to say that the great ambition of this strategy as well will imply, of course, a lot of difficulties and barriers in the implementation, which is now the most important thing to do. And I saw with great interest how much attention you put into this in the strategy. First of all, you stress that you want to serve citizens, that it is the most important objective for you. You want to have automatic processes with this concrete aim, but as well that you want to have very strong human resources policy. And that's another thing that fundamental for it.
There are very many very great
Experts here who need to be retained in the system, but as well the digitalization policy that you will be now introducing will demand a lot of investment into human resources, because we know how difficult it is both in our professional lives, but in private life, even for me now. In my country, we have so-called e-governance, so the system for the citizens. I think it is quite difficult. So I think the ambitions are very great, but there will be a lot of investment needed into in order to achieve this ambitious aim. So, like it was mentioned, we focus as well very much together with you on private sector development and of giving this government, whom we really trust a lot, as much space as possible through our budget support. So we are aligned with you. We want to work with you. This strategy is very important for us, because we will, on the basis of this strategy as well, plan our interventions. Because apart from budget support, we will have some complementary measures, and those measures we want to do in alignment, of course, with the arrest agenda, but as well with this very good strategy we presented today. So thank you very much for the opportunity for the European Union to be in this process with you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Madam Anna, for representing the European Union. The European Union is one of our strong partners. So on behalf of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, we want to appreciate you for your support, your budget support, and technical support. Next on the agenda, we have remarks from the United Nations. Any representative, please? Thank you. Can we please give a round of applause? Okay, so we made some changes. I'm so sorry, Madam. We made some changes to the agenda. So we will go to AFDP, African Development Bank, and a remark will be taken from Mr. Rees Wasuli. Can we please give a round of applause?
So just telling her that I'll do 1 minute, sir. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in line with the previous two speakers, on behalf of the African Development Bank, on behalf of the African Development Bank, oh, I can shout, right? Yeah, let me shout. I'm pleased to join you in celebrating the launch of the Ministry of Finance's 5-year strategic plan. The theme, as indicated by the last two, that is announced, transforming priorities into strategies, the pathway to efficient service delivery captures the challenge in development work in Zambia. Not only in Nigeria, but for too long, we identify the right priorities. We identify the right priorities, yet struggle, often than not, we struggle to put them into practice for the benefit of the intended people. This plan aims to change that, and as African Development Bank, we welcome that intention, ensuring that good intentions become bankable projects and ultimately improve the services of the Liberian people. At the representing the people of Liberia in the last over 50 years. Whether it is in expanding access to electricity or strengthening public finance management, progress happens when priorities are backed by clear strategy and also implementing those strategies. To the Minister and the Ministry team, congratulations on this milestone. You have defined the pathway. The LFTV stands ready as a committed partner to work with you, turning today's strategies into lasting impact for the people of Liberia. And I'm glad to say most of what I listened to here aligns very, very closely with our country strategy paper for 2026 to 2031, which was approved by our board on the 3rd of February this year. So I thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Rees, for that wonderful remarks. We will now take remarks from the U.S. Embassy, and that will be done by Sir Alison Sharif. Can we kindly give a round of applause? Is he in? Okay, so we will now transition to the executive branch. Anyone from the Ministry of State or Ministry of Foreign Affairs? Thank you very much, Minister, for that reminder. So we'll take the remarks from the Swedish ambassador. Can we please give a round of applause?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to stand on existing protocol. I will be very, very brief. I'm very happy to be able to make a few remarks, but since we're right on the list, this is somewhat improvised. Let me just start by saying, personally, my training wasn't as an economist, and many years ago, I don't want to get into how many, but many years ago, I started my career in the Ministry of Finance in Sweden. So, working with Ministries of Finance still holds a very dear place in my heart. And Sweden has, for several years, been supporting strengthening of public finance management within the finance ministry here in Liberia. And talking to the colleagues and the experts who've been doing that work, they're testifying to the incredible journey that the ministry has undertaken in the last couple of years. And I really want to congratulate the ministry and the minister for this important work, because as was pointed out during the presentation, having your public finances in order is the fundamental requirement to enable the government to deliver on any of its other priorities. And I especially want to applaud the prioritization on focusing on the poor and vulnerable in society with the resources and the abilities that you build through a strong Ministry of Finance. I really want to recognize that. And I want to congratulate the ministry for the launch of this important plan. Of course, at the end of the day, the hard work starts now, because you might have a plan, but you of course need to deliver on it. So, congratulations on this very important first step, and all the best for the continued work in ensuring that this plan translates into tangible delivery and improvement for the Ministry of Finance, for the government of Liberia, and ultimately for the people of Liberia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Hello. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful remark. So, we have a remark from the daughter of the diplomatic code. 1 minute, please. 1 minute remarks, please.
as I had decided that I wasn't going to speak because I came here to learn today, and I don't have the expertise of my colleague from Sweden who just left here. But I would say that I'm very proud and happy to join you today. When I go to an event where Minister Gafwan is present, I always remember he's my namesake, and we have a special relationship which makes me happy to see him, as well as my boss, who is the professor of my daughter. So that's why I came back. It's very good to see that the Minister of Finance and his team, actually, his team decided to tailor the financial procedures for the Republic from this time to 2030. And it's like writing a judgment and giving it to critics to monitor what you're going to do. So it's that he took that decision to exploit the arrest agenda, the IED, and to make sure that he puts the engine of development at the service of the rest of the administrations of something that inspires me. I come from a country where initially, after independence, we functioned on the basis of 5-year development plans, and I know what it means in terms of consistency of outlook and in terms of consistencies in realizations. So I can only encourage you, I think I've already had 2 minutes, I can only encourage you to follow up on this and to make sure that, like I said a few days ago when we attended the meeting of the Liberian House of Representatives setting up the Committee for Population and Development, that the development is about the people, and that without you making this mission of the Ministry of Finance to serve the people, we are not going to talk about any development. So, having stood on the existing protocol, and I go back, and I say thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful remarks. We will have one remark from the IMF representative. Can we please give a round of applause?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to also stand on existing protocols, and I'm really glad to be here to witness this formal launch of the strategic plan, the MINISTERIAL for the next 5 years. I'll be brief, but first, let me, for those who may not be aware, that currently the IMF has an existing program with Liberia, and we are happy to see that there's very interest under this program. And the MFDP is at the center of the implementation of this program, not only being directly responsible for implementing some of the reforms, but also coordinating with other agencies involved. So, for that, I want to say congratulations on the progress so far. In the context of this launch, I want to also congratulate the MFDP because you need to have a vision of where you are going and then have a plan on how you want to get there. So without a vision, then the journey will be really very difficult. When I was looking at the core priorities, something that struck me was the element of digitization, almost every part of the priorities. This is very, very key to ensure that service delivery to the Liberian people is very efficient, and then in terms of managing public finances, it's well handled. So I'm happy to be associated with the current strategic plan, and we will work as usual together with the MFD to ensure that we also contribute to the
of the strategic, oh, by the way, please allow me to stay on existing protocol. Yeah. When I received a copy of the strategic plan, I flipped the pages and went to the back. I wanted to see what the total cost of implementing the strategic plan is, because it gave me an idea of how much more burden I need to undertake. But on a more serious note, I'm really very happy that the Ministry of Finance has gotten around to developing this strategic plan, because focus as the Ministry of Finance has been is good to articulate these vision instruments to keep us on track. Because the task we have to do at LRA is actually sort of like we get policy direction from the Ministry of Finance, because the Ministry of Finance is responsible for setting tax policy. And the challenge with revenue mobilization to support the AID is really enormous, because when the AID was crafted, on average, we're required to raise $1.6 billion a year to support the full implementation of the AID. Unfortunately, in year one, we only raised 0.7 billion. In year two, last year, we raised about 0.85 billion. We're still reconciling the numbers. So again, we still fell short. This year, we hope to raise about 1.2 billion in total revenue, which is still a far cry from the 1.6 that we need to do. Now, the fact that we've done 3 years already and we're not hitting or crossing the 1.6 billion mark means that for the remaining years, it's no longer 1.6 billion on average per annum. It's now much higher than 1.6 billion. So what that means is that we really need to work double time, to ensure that we can raise the remaining revenue, make up for the backlog, and then be able to raise the rest of the revenue for the remaining term of the AID. And that's why when I look in the plan, I see the second place I look was the part that had to do with the tax policy department of the Ministry of Finance. And I see that most of the interventions that have been planned for fully aligns with what we are trying to do at LRA. And like my brother from the island just mentioned, the fact of utilizing technology and leveraging technologies across the states is really very good, because what we've seen with the few technologies that we've had the resources to implement, we are actually seeing that it becomes a very great enabler in terms of revenue generation. And it's good that we are going in that direction, in the hope that in time, all of these systems are going to improve our efficiency, in terms of coordination in the case of the Ministry of Finance, but then also in terms of revenue generation in the space that we operate in. We are very happy with the ministry team because we've been involved in all of this process, just as they have been involved with our processes in developing our own strategic plan, which will be launched very shortly also. We have worked together and we have a very cordial working relationship. Our intention is to keep it that way, to strengthen our collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and continue to get the guidance in terms of policy direction of the entire tax ecosystem. So we stand by to work with the ministry as well as with other partners in ensuring that we can implement these strategies, make our government stronger, as well as be able to raise the revenue needed to support the provision of services and our people and development of our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner General Honorable Jala, for that remarks. Next, we will take remarks from the Auditor General, Honorable P. Gaswa Jackson. Can we please give a round of applause?
Good morning, and please allow me to also stay on existing protocols. In Liberia, usually I
I speak through my reports. So not many persons probably in this room have heard me speaking, except for one or two public events. But I would like to begin by congratulating the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Mr. Kafwine, and your team for the successful launch of your 5-year strategic plan, which is a very key governance benchmark. Most of the time I go to audit, and if you look at our recent General Auditing Commission reports, the first segment of our report is governance, because we believe with all strong leadership, with all adequate governance, we get nothing implemented. So the launch of this plan provides a clear roadmap for the implementation of effective and efficient governance and operations at the Ministry of Finance. But based on the mandate of the ministry as well, it also provides a clear direction for public financial management architecture of the country. So congratulations on that. I think the plan is comprehensive, very comprehensive and very clear. The plan has the potential, and I'd like to emphasize on our potential, to address critical public financial management activities and reforms in the country. But like many of the speakers have already indicated, the plan will take leadership, the plan will take expertise, the plan will take resources, but most importantly, the plan will require thorough monitoring and evaluation to ensure that the goals, the activities comprehensively cataloged in the plan are achieved. I would like to assure the Minister that the General Auditing Commission will continue to be a value-added partner to the Ministry by ensuring that we validate the implementation of the strategic plan. Commissioner Jha talked about when he took the plan, he ran at the back of the plan to see the total resources that was required. When I took the plan, I looked to see whether there was an annual operational plan, which is for me the most interesting part of the plan, to see whether you comprehensively catalog those activities that you need to implement the goals and the timelines for the implementation of those goals. And I think that's how we can add value to your institution. So as part of subsequent audits we will perform at the Ministry of Finance, we will ensure that we validate the implementation of the plan consistent with the approved timelines, in addition to ensuring that resources that are given under the stewardship of the ministry is expended for its intended purposes. I would like to conclude by saying this. Usually at times when we are launching these beautiful plans, we look at achieving goals. But if you focus only on the goals, you don't achieve the goals. Focus on how you are able to implement activities. Focus on how you are able to execute processes. Focus on how you are able to build systems and controls. And once you do that, the goals will automatically be achieved. And I say that because Deputy Minister Jones indicated that one of the major goals is that we want to achieve an unqualified opinion. Unqualified opinion is good. It shows that you were able to expend resources consistent with laws, regulations, and that the financial statement presents a true and fair view. It's all good. But if you only focus on that, then you don't enjoy the journey. So focus on activities, processes, build systems and controls, and eventually you will achieve all of the goals. Wish you all of the best in the implementations of the plan, and know that the General Auditing Commission will be there as a helping hand in the process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auditor General, for that. Next we will take remarks from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and that will be done by Councillor Jenny Ama, Deputy Minister for Legal Affairs. Shall we please give a round of applause?
Given the brevity of time allotted to speakers, all protocols are observed. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Sarah Gasparinanti, extends her greetings and appreciates the opportunity to have the Foreign Ministry present to be recorded as a notable participant in this important occasion. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is pleased to join you this afternoon to commend Mr. Augustine Beheka and the leadership of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning for the development of this 5-year strategic plan. This strategic plan provides a clear institutional framework for strengthening public financial management, improving service delivery, and advancing inclusive and sustainable growth. It marks an important step in strengthening the effectiveness and credibility of the Liberian state. At this stage of Liberia's development, the plan represents the government's commitment to strengthen institutional capacity and to ensure that economic recovery delivers tangible and equitable outcomes for our people. As we move from strategy to implementation, we must be clear-eyed. Even the best plans can be weakened by competing institutional mandates, fragmented coordination mechanisms, and parallel engagement frameworks with external partners. Addressing these constraints will require sustained political leadership, disciplined interministerial cooperation, and the collective willingness to prioritize institutional coherence over sectorial silos. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs recognizes that the success of this agenda will depend on how effectively national reform priorities are aligned with international partnerships, development cooperation, and external financing arrangements. In this regard, we commit to strengthening the coordination role of our diplomatic missions and external engagements so that development assistance, investment promotion, and economic diplomacy are directly anchored in the strategic priorities of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and reinforce national reform and delivery priorities. The credibility of this strategic plan and the consistency of its implementation will shape Liberia's international reputation and the confidence of development partners and investors. Implementation is therefore a matter of national governance and international credibility. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs remains fully committed to advancing a unified national approach to economic diplomacy and development cooperation in support of institutional strengthening and long-term national development, ensuring that our external engagements are systematically connected to the government's fiscal and reform agenda. I formally endorse the Mfdp'S strategic plan 2026-2030 and look forward to its successful implementation. Together, we can strengthen our institutions, deepen public trust in government, and enhance Liberia's standing with international partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Alma, for that remarks. Next, we will take a remark from the Ministry of Justice, and that will be done by Councillor Charles. Second, Deputy Minister for Economic Affairs. Shall we please give a round of applause?
Good afternoon. Kindly allow me to dispense with the protocol. you for the excellent work. Except that you made it easy for us. You told us what you want to do, how you want to do it, and by when. So we can easily measure by 2030 by reverting to what I clearly articulated. You know, the lawyers were unlike the journalists. Sorry, do not take this to be disparaging. For a lawyer, whatever we say was be backed by law and we state what the law is. For the journalists, they will quote something they say, anonymous source. Anonymous source. You cannot do that in law. So, I'm saying this to say that the famous quote that is attributed to Ben Franklin, he said what? And I quote, if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Your strategic plan has demonstrated your desire to do what you want to do over the next 5 years. We at the Ministry of Justice, on behalf of the Minister, the Attorney General, Consular, and also TWE, you have our unflinching support. Call us where we are needed, and we are there to back you 200 or 300%. So I say thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor, for acknowledging us that planning is very essential in implementing any strategic goal. Now we're transitioning to the legislature for remarks. We will take remarks from the Honorable P. Marjorie, Chairman for Ways, Means and Finance Committee. Can we please give a round of applause?
When we lawmakers are given a time frame of 20 minutes and you have to stay on a safety protocol, then it becomes very challenging. However, I will try to read the address, but to punctuate within the time frame. So let me start by recognizing Minister Tafuan and your hard-working team, the deputy ministers and assistant ministers, and all who work with you. I also like to recognize government officials from the cabinet. I'd like to recognize members of the diplomatic corps, including our development partners here present, and all of the people from the Ministry of Finance. And let me say, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is with profound appreciation that I stand here today on behalf of the House of Representatives, and therefore like to illustrate that I bring you greetings from the Speaker, and also greetings from the Ways, Means and Finance Committee that I chair. Mr. Minister, we are here witnessing the launch of the strategic plan. In this document that we are witnessing today, I see it as the blueprint to Liberia's economic resilience and the next 5 years can become achievable developments. The theme, transforming priorities into strategies, the pathway to efficient service deliverables, I think resonates deeply with the work we do at Capitol Hill. At Capitol Hill, the legislature deliberates on priorities every day. But let me say this to you, Mr. Minister. I'm glad that the MFDP came up strategy. And this strategy, I believe, is the way forward. I truly believe that this strategy, once implemented, our intentions are now set as goals. So this strategy is the blueprint again that can lead us in the entire country to where we want to land our developments. The plan bridges the gaps, and I do believe by focusing on the plan, we'll be focusing on transparency, we'll be focusing on accountability, and we'll be focusing on improved resource allocation. Our committee that I head at the House of Representatives has come here to assure you that we will work together effectively according to your plan. Mr. Minister, as the chairman on Ways, Means and Finance of the Committee of the House of Representatives, I want to emphasize that success within this plan, success of this strategy, of this roadmap depends on the strength of the partnership of all of us in this room today. And so we all have to come together to make sure this roadmap is successful. The legislature is committed to providing the necessary oversight and the support to ensure the institutions, reforms, and all mentioned within this plan that are just waiting be realized. We will work together to ensure that the MFDP, during budgetary allocations, these strategies align with approvals that we want to work on. We will take into account every steps, all of the steps, all of the different subtitles. I was trying to look into the document and I realized it's commentarized, and if it is done according to the different compartments, we are sure we can work to you to track the development aspects, particularly that will affect the lives of the Liberian people, the citizens in the streets, down to the farmers in the interior. I congratulate you, Mr. Minister, and all of your hardworking people, including our development partners here present, as all of us are called to make sure that this plan comes to reality. Let us go out there, work together for a more prosperous Liberia. Again, this plan is the blueprint for Liberia's development. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jury, for your strong and reaffirming remarks. Next, we will take remarks from the Honorable Prince Moy. He is the chairman for Ways, Means and Finance Committee of the House of Senate. Can we please give a round of applause?
Thank you. The Honorable Pima Jury, the Joint Committee Chair, the Ways, Means and Finance of the Legislature, the Honorable Augustine Behekafwan, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, members of the team, and other ministers here present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be here once more because we started with this process when the external engagement, stakeholder engagement activities was ongoing. The committee was invited to play a role, to give a suggestion as to how we see a 5-year strategic plan for the ministry. And we expressed our desire to work with the ministry sincerely, given the fact that the minister has always said the Minister of Finance and development planning is that engine that pumps the blood to all other government agencies. That's the fight. And if you come here with a plan that will reduce processing time, to give funding to other ministries to work and to implement what we have placed in the budget, I think it's something that all of us have to be happy about. If you institute fiscal measures that will give the Revenue Authority boost in domestic resource mobilization, that's something that we are all happy about. Because the appropriation power that we have, we don't just have it in vacuum. We rely on data, we rely on information, and we rely on these agencies to collect the revenue so that we fund the government adequately. So if we have a plan that will focus on all the different processes, I think it's something that the House and the Senate will support. The Minister, I want to say thank you. We listened to a few of our development partners expressing real-time gratitude on some of the things that we have to do as a government. The reporting system, something that they didn't see a couple of years ago. I think it's something that we have to say thanks to the ministry and thanks to all those that made input into finalizing this plan. From the side of the legislature, as I said, the plan is costed, and you know the government has priorities. So if we are in the know and the dividend that this plan will bring in terms of domestic resource mobilization and other things that will make our revenue grow, we will say that let's protect this because they're going to bring out revenue that will fund the government. We will not be as saying, oh, what kind of project is this? What the Minister of Finance is just bringing in? Because we already know. So it's good that we are here from the beginning and to the finalization of this plan so that we take it to our different chambers that look, this plan will have a ripple effect in making sure that our domestic resource mobilization capacity is to the best and we can continue to hit our 1 billion target and above. The LRA Commissioner General just said that we are behind. And to catch up, it depends on these instruments. I want to be very thankful. Thank you. On behalf of the Senate, you have our support and we'll continue to support the plan. Thank you.
The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning appreciates the House of Senate for their strong support. We are going to have a very short musical interview so that we flex our muscles and we'll 5 minutes extensively. Thank you.
Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the effective stewardship of a nation's economy requires strong leadership, sound policy, and a clear strategic vision for sustainable development. At the helm of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning is a leader entrusted with guiding. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please have our seats, please? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the effective stewardship of the nation's economy requires strong leadership, sound policy direction, and a clear strategic vision for sustainable development. At the helm of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning is a leader entrusted with guiding Liberia's and coordinating the nation's development priorities. It is therefore my distinct honor and privilege to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Honorable Augustine Payne-Kafwan, to deliver the special statement and institutional commitment as we formally launch the MFDP strategic plan for the period of 2026-2030.
To deliver a special statement on this official launch of the MFDP'S 5-year strategic plan 2026 and 2030.
In Liberia and heads of development partner institutions here present, the doyen of the diplomatic corps, fellow ambassadors here present, I call them my bosses, the chair of the Senate Standing Committee, Ways, Means, Finance and Budget, Honorable Prince Kemumboy, and Honorable P. Majuri, the chair of the House Ways, Means, Finance and Budget Standing Committee, and the joint chair of the Standing Committee. And our partners from government, Commissioner General, Dr. Jara, LRA, the Auditor General, P. Gaspar Jackson, our Deputy Ministers representing the Dean of the Cabinet, Mr. Councillor, Jelly Mowbray Ama, and Councillor Charles Camo, representing the Minister of Justice. I see I just seen the Honorable, one of our partners in progress, the Honorable DG of the Civil Service Agency, the Honorable Dr. Josiah Joka, the other heads of government entities. See the Executive Marshal being represented by Christy Dunbar and others. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I bring you greetings from His Excellency President Joseph Newman Boakai, the captain of the ship steering Liberia toward renewal, responsibility, and results. With profound responsibility and renewed determination, we gather here today to officially launch the strategic plan of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning for the period 2026 to 2030. I extend heartfelt appreciation to our Chief Launcher, the United Nations Resident Coordinator. Your presence is not only an honor, but a powerful testament to the enduring partnership between Liberia, the United Nations, and the broader development community. Let me also begin by thanking Deputy Minister Bill McGay Jones and Assistant Minister Paul Tambalami and others who worked in the front line of this effort, and all my deputy ministers, assistant ministers, directors, staffers of the ministry. Let me also acknowledge and commend the work of the Guru Consultants. They were the Liberian consulting company that we hired to help us in drafting this plan. And as I said, so I recognize that I've gone to the launch of many strategic plans, and one thing that is comforting is that the consultants being hired are Liberian consultancy firms. So apparently we have opened a new line of business and jobs have been created short term. Let me anchor us in the principle I often share in speeches across the country and elsewhere. Politicians win during elections, but the people win after elections when the political leaders deliver on the ambitions and aspirations of the people. It is in this spirit that we present the plan today. Our hope and firm belief is that the measurable outcomes captured within it will be achieved, and achieved on time. The strategic plan embodies our collective resolve to transform the Ministry of Finance and Development Plan into a true center of excellence, an institution that improves fiscal reporting and accounting, advances strategic debt management, digitizes processes, enhances service delivery nationwide, strengthens public financial management, and prepares Nigeria's economic transformation with discipline, transparency, and measurable results. This plan is not a plan for me, not a plan for the deputy ministers, directors, assistant ministers, or even the consultants. And the fact that the deputy minister that led this effort, Honorable Bill McGay Jones, stood here and was telling us that he's making a big transition to the big house. Tells you that the plan is not for any of us. The plan is for the Liberian people, because we, public servants, we are tenants. We are tenants. The real owners of the house are the landlords and the people. The Ministry of Finance is the people's ministry. Ministers come, ministers go. Deputies come, deputies go. Assistant ministers come, assistant ministers go. But the ministry is the ministry for the people. And so this plan we put together is a plan for Liberia, for Liberia's Ministry of Finance and Development. The plan is for the vendors who perform services, deliver services, goods and services to government. This plan is for contractors, road contractors or others. The plan is for civil servants across the entire country. The plan is also for development partners with whom we work. The plan is for all the ministries, some of whom are here, foreign affairs,
justice, LRA, and I will repeat that the reason is that if the Ministry of Finance performs well, most likely the government performs well. And if we don't perform, we paralyze the government. The consequences of actions or inactions are high when you are at the Ministry of Finance. I tell my folks that your work has consequences and that you can literally make people to leave, or you may make people to die if you don't do your work. So that's the burden we share, and everyone within the ministry has to understand that the country's burden is on our shoulders. So this plan is a roadmap to actualizing the ambition of the people. The plan is our response to the challenges and opportunities that lie before us. Over the next 5 years, we'll pursue reforms that are both ambitious and pragmatic. We'll modernize our financial management systems. We'll strengthen fiscal reporting and accountability. We'll enhance debt sustainability and expand domestic resource mobilization. And I say that with strength, and I've given the LRA chief some cross-eyed. He's emitting to me some positive signals. We will accelerate digital transformation across the ministry. We will professionalize the public financial management workforce. And we will reduce inefficiencies to improve service delivery at every level. These are achievable goals, and not aspirations in a vacuum, but targets grounded in the realities of our fiscal environment. Beyond these core pillars, the plan also addresses fundamental institutional needs. We intend to conduct feasibility studies and that will lead to the eventual construction of a new permanent headquarters of the Ministry of Finance. The plan proposes, and we're currently reviewing the Ministry's Enabling Act in order to propose, working with government colleagues, the necessary institutional structural reforms to enhance efficiency. We will strengthen the functions of the Controller and Accountant General with the aim to granting greater operational independence and integrity. We have set clear, measurable targets. We intend to expand FMIS coverage, improving audit outcomes, reducing processing times, enhancing transparency in public accounts, and strengthening compliance with international standards. Progress will be tracked rigorously, reported openly, and accountability will be non-negotiable. The plan does not exist in isolation. The objectives are directly aligned with the broader national ambition to invest more in roads, energy, health, and education, and other critical sectors. A ministry that enhances revenue growth is the ministry that we are planning for. This plan speaks to our roadmap for progress. The plan is our response to the challenges of our people. It is also a call to action. To my colleagues in the cabinet and across government, this strategic plan is an invitation to deepen coordination, strengthen budget discipline, and ensure that public resources deliver maximum value for the Liberian people. To our development partners and members of the diplomatic community, the plan signals renewed credibility and partnership. We are strengthening country systems, enhancing fiduciary safeguards, and committing to transparency and predictability. We seek not only your support, but your confidence. Confidence built on results. As Minister of Finance, I pledge my full commitment to the implementation of this plan. Its success will demand discipline, teamwork, sustained leadership at every level of the ministry. It will require alignment between strategy and workplace, between policy and execution, between ambition and accountability. Tomorrow's Liberia depends on today's reforms and actions. Let this launch mark the beginning of a new chapter, one defined by institutional excellence, fiscal responsibility, and strengthened partnership. Together, we will transform priorities into strategies, and strategies into results. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have conceptualized, we have analyzed, and we have strategized. We have produced a strategic plan, but good plans and good intentions are not good enough. And so, if this good ceremony will be transformed to good outcomes, we must work the plan. We must sweat the plan. We must walk the talk. And this is the commitment I make, and this is the commitment that my deputies, assistants, and all stakeholders working in the ministry make. And we thank you for all the support you gave us in the crafting of the plan. The plan now we will have, but the actions and the hard work we must start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning, Augustine Benny-Kafuan, for admonishing us to work together for the successful implementation of the MFDP strategic plan. We have come to the highlights of this official launch. We will now call upon stage Madam Christine Umotomi, UN Resident Coordinator, for remarks and official launch of the strategic plan. Shall we please give a round of applause? Honorable Minister Augustine Gafuan, Minister of Finance and Development Planning, other members of Cabinet present, legislature, heads of government institutions, and senior government officials of the diplomatic corps, and members, distinguished ambassadors, and development partners, private sector, civil society organizations, colleagues of the United Nations present, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. of the UN family and on behalf of the wider development partners and on my own behalf, it's an honor to stand with you as we unveil the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning Strategic Plan 2030. Congratulations. This plan is a blueprint that transforms national priorities into real, measurable change for every Liberian. As we see 2026-2030, actually we see the alignment with the SDGs. And therefore, the launch of this strategic plan is a symbol for Liberia's resilience, leadership, and unwavering determination to shape its own future. As the theme mentions, transforming priorities into strategies, the pathway to efficient service delivery. It speaks all, and it speaks. Allow me to pay tribute to this country for the 20 years of peace and stability. Let me begin by recognizing something really, truly profound. For 23 years, Liberia has demonstrated that peace is not accidental. It is an achievement built daily through determination and unity. The efforts towards deepening democracy inspires confidence across the region and beyond. In a world where too many nations are retreating from democratic values, Liberia stands tall. This strategic plan builds on that stability because development cannot thrive without peace, and peace cannot endure without development. Let me also recognize Liberia stepping into the global stage. Liberia is not only a founding member of the UN, but as we speak today, Liberia serves as a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council 2026-2027. It's a powerful symbol of global respect and trust. It is a statement to how far Liberia has come and how much it has contributed to international peace, cooperation, and multilateral decision-making. This honor carries with it a responsibility. And today's event is proof that Liberia is ready. The commitment to strong institutions, accountable governance, and transparent resource management aligns perfectly with the global role we now hold. So, let's see how this strategic plan really meets the moment. This plan is launched at a defining moment. Liberia is a nation of immense promise. One where nearly 75% of the population is under 35. And most of them really children who are the future of this country and young people. This is a powerful engine for innovation and transformation. At the same time, the early achievements under the arrest agenda, including the 5.1% GDP growth, the declining inflation, as well as increasing domestic revenue, demonstrate demonstrate Liberia's commitment to disciplined economic management and reform. Thank you for that. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning Strategic Plan responds boldly to those opportunities mentioned. It strengthens the very pillars that make development possible. And I think Honorable Minister explained it well, and those who presented to us the plan, because they talked about modern financial systems, strong public financial management, transparent fiscal reporting, responsible debt management, digital transformation, and excellence in service delivery. So, looking at all this really means that this plan is the catalyst for national transformation, anchored in accountability and designed to produce results. We see this also as a platform for investment and economic renewal. As the world takes notice of Liberia's stability and rising leadership, this strategic plan sends a very powerful signal. Liberia is ready for investment. With improved fiscal governance, stronger revenue systems, and a clear commitment to transparency, Liberia is laying the groundwork to attract responsible private sector investment. Investments that create jobs, build industries, and expand opportunities for young people. The United Nations, and indeed all development partners, stand ready to support initiatives to attract sustainable investment, entrepreneurship, and innovation. And I hope that the private sector is represented in this meeting and in all coordination structures for development planning, because it's a very important partner, as well as the diaspora. I think various meetings that you have held with diaspora abroad indicate how strong they can also contribute to development. So I do not have the opportunity to stand up and speak on behalf of the United Nations because I'm launching, but briefly to say that the UN also walks this journey with you. We launched our cooperation framework, Minister Together, which is also 2026-2030, perfectly aligned with the national plan. And all that you're talking about, governance, accountability, inclusive, sustainable economic transformation, human capital development, are some of the areas of alignment. But I won't really focus on this because I'm launching, but you have our cooperation framework. I also know that most partners have finalized their national strategic papers or their cooperation frameworks, and they have different names. And all these are really focused and aligned with the national plan. So it gives us much pleasure to see the leadership that the country is making, because all our plans are aligned to the national priorities. And without leadership, we are like a sheep, blind, walking, but with clear plans and even strategic plans, the vision is clear, and we can only align and follow the path that we've made. So, particularly on the plan of the strategic plan of the Ministry of Finance, I think macroeconomic and fiscal policy advisory services will continue to be critical. Support to debt sustainability analysis will be important. Digital governance and modernization, I think, are areas where all our partnership will continue to focus. Strengthen monitoring and evaluation systems, innovative and integrated financing instruments, financing this requires broader partnerships. And if we mention the private sector, the non-traditional donors, the banks, everybody, individuals, the diaspora. I keep speaking about the diaspora. I give myself as an example. Every year, I send resources home, but every year I receive communications from Ministry of my own Foreign Affairs or Financing. We need contribution on this. Case in point is school feeding or mutual, health financing. And you pick, as a member of the diaspora, you pick wherever you want, but they send us the national plan of the country. And I saw it happening, Liberians distributing the national plan in the meeting that happened in Washington, and also last year when there was the homecoming, that every Liberian where you are, in country, out country, this is your plan, and you can contribute to it. So what they contribute comes into as revenue to the country. So many partners, as I said, have aligned their priorities to the AID, but I need to say again that all partners are inspired by national leadership and look forward to stronger coordination and alignment in action, ensuring that national and sub-national interventions reach the most vulnerable. The UN and the partners stand ready to work hand in hand with the government, all stakeholders, civil society, private sector, all populations, to ensure that this plan delivers meaningful results for all Liberians at national, sub-national levels, and also in and out of Liberia. So, because strategic plans do not transform countries, and because, as Minister just said, implementation is the key to transformation, we are committed to supporting the implementation of the plan every step of the way. Now, the call for action as I conclude, distinguished guests, at the launch of this strategic plan, let us remember that development is not the responsibility of one ministry, of one department. It's not even the responsibility of any one partner. It is the responsibility of the nation as a whole, but also of the international community. The approach of the whole of society that we see, the whole of government approach that we see here, but also the whole of partners approach is really critical to ensure integrated programs that create impact. And thank you for making us part of this. We don't take it for granted. Thank you for a very inclusive participation process, Honorable Minister and your team at the ministry. Therefore, we all have a place in this journey. Let us coordinate, let us align our resources, and let us ensure that every Liberian, from the bustling streets of Monrovia to the most remote communities, feel the impact of this transformation. Now, it is great pride that I facilitate in the launch of the Ministry of Finance and Government Planning Strategic Plan 2026-2030. I want to leave a few words as the key launcher. May its implementation be bold. May its reforms be sustained. May its impact uplift all people in Liberia, every Liberian at home and abroad, and may it carry this nation confidently into its next chapter of prosperity, stability, and global leadership. Thank you, and God bless Liberia. Now, with these few remarks, I think I'll have to call the minister here. Help me. Because So, with those few remarks, distinguished guests, it's my honor and privilege to launch the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning Strategic Plan 2026-2030.
Launcher has just launched the official launch of the MFDP 5 years strategic plan 2026.
Madam, you want to
For reflecting on the strong and close relationship
Liberia has
with the United
nations
and the
steps like
has taken to sustain that relationship. This shows that Liberia is on the right path to sustain advanced
development. I also like to appreciate you for those inspiring remarks and for officially launching the MFDP Strategic Plan of 2026-2030. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding the official launch of the Ministry of Finance and Development Strategic Plan. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, we extend our sincere
appreciation
to all our partners and
stakeholders for your
presence and continued collaboration. Your partnership remains vital as we collectively work together towards strengthening economic governance, advancing development planning, and improving service delivery for the people of Liberia. This now brings us to the conclusion of the official program. But before that, we will have a group picture, so I'll call upon the head of protocol, Mr. Kojolo, to usher us for the group picture. Thank you.
So this brings us up to the end of this official launch of the MFDP'S 5-year strategic plan here at the EJS Ministerial Complex here. This is the end of it, so we want to say thank you again for joining us from this morning, and of the president want to say thank you for watching and have yourself a wonderful and a God bless day. So this is how we come to the end of it. We want to say thank you again for watching today's program. This has been Vision on TV coming to you live from the EJS Ministerial Complex, where we brought you the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning official launch of MFDP'S 5-year strategic plan the EJS Ministerial Complex. Their plan is 2026 and 2030. So I want to say thank you again for watching, and have yourself a wonderful and a God bless day from our nation's capital, Monrovia. This is Roland Emmanuel Alizine behind the camera for Vision on TV. I want to say thank you for watching, and have yourself a wonderful and a God bless day.